family, and we didn't have the financial resources to do that sort of thing. And so when I was in my teens, I got my first real job, and I started paying for classes for myself. And ever since then, it just kind of stuck. And, I ended up, 30 years later running my academy here for the last 30 years. And it's been kind of a fun ride, and as a teenager, I was mostly into more of the combative style of arts, and I was very much into Western boxing. And I used to go to a boxing gym just a few blocks down the street here from my academy. And I had a boxing coach there tell me one day that if I wanted to be really good at boxing, I should start doing meditation and Tai Chi. And, at the time, I'm this 19-year-old kid thinking, isn't Tai Chi for old people in the park? How's that going to help me be a better fighter? And I followed his guidance, and I started doing it, and it's changed my life in many ways. And through the years, I've had thousands of students come through the academy, and I've heard hundreds of stories on how the meditative arts has positively influenced people's lives. And so that's kind of what's made me so motivated to share this message and teach people how to build an evolving life practice with the meditative arts.
So what was it about it at the time that really piqued your interest, that made you want to do more of it?
Well, at first, I didn't understand really why he was having me do a meditation practice. And, anytime I told him I would do something, I always did at least that, if not more. And so, there was a period of time for about 3 or 4 months where I was going down every day and doing my Tai Chi and my meditation first thing in the morning. And, I started getting a little bit discouraged because he wasn't showing me anything else. I didn't see any results. I didn't really understand what was going on. And I'm sure he recognized this frustration because I'd see him 5 or 6 days a week at the gym. And then one day at about the 7 or 8 month mark, I went down to practice in my basement one morning, and I looked up at the clock, and an hour and a half had gone by, and it felt like 15 minutes. And I had this euphoric rush and the sensation that I'd never experienced before. And from that point on, I was just hooked. And, that's when I started kind of adjusting my focus a little bit and really diving into all the areas of the meditative arts and really kind of making it a life passion.
No, that's nice, man.
Perfect.
When I was growing up, man, I was into basketball. I didn't, it wasn't, I'm from a small town. I think maybe it was one place that taught martial arts when I was growing up. By the time I saw the place, I'm in my mind, hey, I just want to focus on basketball. you can't do everything, man, all at the same time, So, but at the same time, I always looked at martial arts like, hey, that's kind of cool, man. And then they have the competitions every so often, and people would say, hey, man, I'm a black belt, I'm a white belt. I didn't know what any of that stuff meant. But I knew if they made it to the competition, they have to be good.
Well, there's all levels that compete, and one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that a lot of professional athletes these days, basketball players, football players, baseball players, it doesn't matter what the sport, are turning to the meditative arts because it's so valuable to improve our ability to stay present and focus and make that mind-body connection, and works with your timing and your ability to see things from more perspectives. And so you'll find that there's a lot, and it would surprise you in how many, I was actually working on my next book, and I've been doing some research on professional athletes that have come out in public and talked about how they use the meditative arts to improve their performance.